Have you ever had the feeling that you are not who you are supposed to be? You are called for greatness, but still, you are just the son of a blacksmith. Deep down, there is a voice calling you. Be brave. Break free from the chains, it says. But still, you are just an ordinary guy. Too afraid to step up. Too deep into the comfort zone where everything outside of the ordinary frightens you. Well, that's me. Or at least it was me. Because when the time comes, it is your choice to embrace your fate or deny it, and live your whole life with the question, what if? I remember the morning as if it was yesterday. I had just woken up after a long night with Bianca. Who is Bianca, you might ask? She was my love, my confidant, my everything. After I met her, I didn't even want to see another girl. She was all I had ever wished for. There was nothing more important for me in Skalitz. Nothing more important in the whole Bohemia. Of course, my father didn't share my romantic mood. I had come home late, and he scolded me, the way he used to scold the dog in the backyard. Responsibility, duty, discipline, words I had heard 1,000 times before, but never truly listened to. I shrugged it off, as always. That day was supposed to be ordinary, running errands, helping father, living the same life I always did. Then came the visit from Lord Istvan. He brought with him a commission, a sword forged for Sir Radzik Kobila, one of the most respected lords in Bohemia. For a blacksmith's son like me, it was an honor. I was hardly competent, but just the thought that my hand could help craft a blade for a noble filled me with pride. But pride doesn't last long when fate has other plans. One morning, without a warning, King Sigismund's mercenaries descended upon Skalitz. They were led by Sir Marquardt, and alongside them rode the Cumans, merciless warriors who showed no pity. They came like a storm. Chaos consumed the village. Flames, blood, and screams filled the air. I was helpless, just a blacksmith's son with nothing but fear in his heart. What was I supposed to do? Defend the village by myself? No. I did what anyone would do when the weight of terror crushes them. I ran. I can still see it. My parents cut down before my very eyes. My neighbors crying out, begging for mercy that never came. I ran past it all, every step filled with shame, but also with desperation. An arrow pierced my leg. I had never felt such a pain, but even that couldn't stop me. I ran until the world blurred and my lungs burned. After what felt like an eternity, I reached the castle of Taumburg. There, I collapsed, broken and bleeding, but alive. I warned Lord Davish of what had happened. I told him Skalitz was gone, burned to the ground by Sigismund's army, and that Taumburg would be next. That was the day my old life ended, the day I lost everything, and the day I took the first step on the path towards who I was meant to become. At Taumburg, I was given a shelter, food and rest, but there was no rest for my heart. Skalitz was gone, my parents were dead, and my soul burned for vengeance. I wanted nothing more than to take up a sword and make those butchers pay. But I was no warrior. I could barely hold a blade straight. It took time and it took pain. I learned to fight, to write, even to read, things I had never thought I would need. At first I stumbled, humiliated by how useless I was, but slowly, through bruises and sweat, I became something more than the blacksmith's son. My path led me to Sir Radzik Kubila, the very lord for whom we had begun forging the sword before Skalitz burned. He was wise, respected, a man who fought Sigismund's cruelty with every breath. For some reason, he saw potential in me. He gave me tasks, small at first, like carrying messages, investigating bandits, gathering supplies, but one by one, I completed them all. I began to earn his trust. I was not long before I found myself in the company of nobles, lords and knights. I, Henry of Skalitz, the nobody, sat at their tables, wrote on their ranks, and held my head a little higher. But always the shadow of that day lingered behind me. War raged across Bohemia. Sigismund's allies like Sir Istvan Todt plotted in secret while Cumans and mercenaries ravaged the countryside. Every village I passed reminded me of Skalitz. Every corpse reminded me of my parents, and every battle hardened me further. I fought in ambushes and skirmishes. I uncovered spies and traitors. I saw betrayal among nobles and bravery among peasants. Each lesson carved me deeper. I was no longer running errands for my father. I was shaping my own destiny. But destiny is never simple. Sir Istvan Todt, cunning and dangerous, set his trap. He captured Sir Radzik himself, along with Lady Stephanie, and held them hostage. I cannot describe the fury in my heart when I learned of it. To see the man who had become my mentor, my guide, taken by that snake. It lit a fire in me that nothing could extinguish. We planned, we fought, and at last we turned the tables. Istvan was forced to release Radzik. The game of war and politics continued, but for me, something far greater was revealed. The truth of my blood. Sir Radzik Kubila was not just my lord. He was my father, my true father.
Honor?
If the word of honor of a nobleman could not be trusted, then he would never have agreed to the exchange.
And where's the honor in abandoning your son?
You know how it is. We were young.
I was his illegitimate son, hidden away as the blacksmith's boy in Skalitz. All those years I thought I was nobody, but in truth I was born of noble blood. I didn't know how to feel, proud, angry, betrayed. It didn't matter. Blood alone does not make a man. The life I had lived, the choices I had made, the trials I have endured, those had forged me more than any noble lineage. In the end, I stood as Henry, no longer a frightened boy, no longer just the blacksmith's son, but a warrior, a leader, and a man ready to face whatever fate awaited me. I had lost everything once, my family, my home, my innocence, but I had found something greater, a purpose, a place in the story of my land. And though the battles were far from over, I knew this truth. And though the battles were far from over, I knew this truth. Greatness is not given, it is taken. Seized through blood, sweat, and the courage to rise when the world wants you to stay on your knees. That was my journey, from the ashes of Skalitz to the rank of nobles and knights, from nothing to someone. And if you ever doubt yourself, if you ever feel you are too small, too weak, too ordinary, remember my story. Because if a blacksmith's son can rise to stand among lords, then perhaps fate is calling you too.